purely. So that helped me very much all day yesterday. It's the same thing, that the reason, and I've been thinking about it so I can appreciate it so much more, that Narada Muni chastised Vyasadeva, that you've written so many books, but you haven't given the real inspire, the real enthusiasm feeder, that is Bhagavatam, Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's personality is being described. So people will not feel, they will not have enough push to go beyond false ego. They will stay within the false ego thinking, I am Brahmana, I am Kshatriya, these are my duties. Or you haven't given them the real juice, which will pull them out of false ego situation. And so all these varieties of pastimes, Krishna Katha, how Krishna reciprocates here, how Krishna acts there, what he does here. And when you hear different acharyas speak about Krishna's nature, Krishna's compassion, Krishna's reciprocity, Krishna's love, Krishna's fortitude, steadfastness, all these qualities when he's spoken of humility, then it tells us, wow, what a person, what a person. And to begin with, people have a concept of God that is so far removed, like up there, this very old guy who's deciding everything, or God is great, like that. And some devotee was describing that the way Krishna is introduced to the public, both in the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam, which are the essences of all Vedic knowledge, the very first introduction to Krishna in Bhagavad Gita is as a chariot driver, not as God, as a servant of his devotee. And in the Bhagavatam, the very first introduction to Krishna is also as a servant of his devotee. Because the first 6 chapters describe, greatness, this and that. The real katha begins when Ashwatthama has to be punished, and Krishna is acting as a chariot driver. So Krishna likes to present, this devotee was appreciating, that Krishna likes to present himself to the world as a servant of his devotees. That's the way he'd like to be known. Instead of someone sitting in Vaikuntha, most grandeur, glorious, which all is true. So these things would help us go. And another thing with false ego is the false ego forces us to look at Krishna and the relationship with him in a way that is fulfilling for us. I want Krishna to do this for me. If he's not doing this for me, what's wrong with you, Krishna? So hearing Bhagavatam removes that, to show that Krishna reciprocates on his own terms. So we have to understand that. And therefore the hearing. So your answer helped me very much yesterday. So, same answer. It's just churning from yesterday. I've been carrying it all day yesterday. It was a very joyful day yesterday, I must say. Anything else?
What's your name?
My name is Nityananda Pran Das. Pran Das. What is yours? Spell it? Ayan. Okay. Oh, welcome to the temple. You're here for the Bud Billiken parade? Okay, very nice. Thank you. And where you come from? Detroit. Bhaktaluk.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
In the course of the day, performing different services, trying to plan so that we perform them nicely and in a timely manner. Sometimes there's like getting overwhelmed if we maybe aren't going to be able to do it as nicely as we would like, or we won't be able to meet a certain deadline. So then some feeling of anxiety may come.
Very good.
And so then that's good.
Yeah. That is readiness for being a temple president someday.
It's so unpleasant. It's such an unpleasant feeling. And then as soon as we enter into the assembly of Vaishnavas just engaged in Krishna Katha, it's such a blissful experience to be able to just try to hear the class and forget about the various anxieties. So then, I'm wondering, is the goal to not experience these various anxieties? Is that just something I have to accept is going to be part of my existence as a servant of Krishna? I'm going to feel like totally stressed out sometimes, and I'm not going to be able to maintain the pleasantness of what I understand to be like Krishna conscious, means like absorbed in hearing, trying to be absorbed, or like chanting. But then for sometimes I go and it seems it's very unpleasant to just have so much going on that I forget Krishna a lot. Is that a clear kind of question?
Yeah. So the anxiety is not because of services. The anxiety is because, like you said, forgetting Krishna. So for one who's remembering Krishna, that anxiety is the source of ecstasy or happiness or joy. So that means we have a material conception of service, a material conception of spiritual life in general. There is no devotee, including the ones in Goloka Vrindavan, who are just sitting and hearing Krishna Katha. They are also doing that. But their service is also going on. Mother Yashoda is also in anxiety. Has Krishna eaten? How is it? It's very hot today. Like that. The boys are in anxiety. The gopis are always in anxiety. Like that. But that anxiety enhances the remembrance of Krishna. So that anxiety is not a problem. So we're not gopis or boys or Yashoda. So we'll bring it to our level or within this realm per se. And the great acharyas were always in anxiety about the mission, about the devotees, about the matha, if you will. But that anxiety enhanced their remembrance of Krishna. The point is, Krishna does not like when we say, wonderful service, don't worry Krishna, I'll take care of it. He likes when we say, my gosh, my dear Krishna, without your help I cannot do this service. That is the right thing. So when we forget Krishna, that's the whole anxiety takes over. But when one is remembering Krishna, calling out, I need your help, the joy in that is fantastic, both for the devotee and for Krishna. And so when we come into association and we're hearing beautiful pastimes or something that helps the remembrance of Krishna, we sometimes wrongly think that, it's the service that's the anxiety, this is what is pleasure. It's not like that. It's the remembrance that's bringing back the joy. So forgetfulness of Krishna is the distress, remembrance is the joy. It's easier to sit with the devotees and remember Krishna. Not always, because one can fall asleep there and be in distress, but the idea is remembrance of Krishna. You remember? Any difficult circumstance, it doesn't matter. Right? Queen Kunti says. For one verse, she lists out, you protected us from the poisoned cake, you protected us from the assembly of great generals, from the fire here, from this there, from the war there, from the forest situation. And then she says, let these distresses come again and again. Let those anxieties come again and again. Because we get to see you. So it's the remembrance of Krishna. Himanshu? Or forgetfulness of Krishna, if you will.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I was thinking about something this morning, how we're all under, not all, but, some of those, myself, under the modes of nature. And they impel certain desires. And because we know that we're trying to become devotees and we have a propensity to act, then we use that initiative to engage it in service. Like, someone likes to build things, so then, instead of building materialistic things, let me build altars for Krishna, right? But I was thinking, the way to know, different levels of Krishna explained in today's purport, the 3 levels, the way to really understand Krishna is through a deep desire of service, like through devotion, right? As our desire to serve Krishna increases. And so I was trying to understand for myself, what is that desire to serve as separate from just the urgings of the modes of nature that I dovetail, in a Krishna conscious way? If you could speak a little about
the difference?
Yeah, like what is this mood of service, and how is it different from just whatever the modes of nature are impelling me to do, which I'm dovetailing, quote unquote, service?
In one sense, dovetailing is trying to see how, Krishna can be happy, but I should also be happy. That is dovetailing. I also want to be happy while I'm trying to make Krishna happy. Service is what is making Krishna happy. It may make me unhappy. So dovetailing includes the interests of two parties, my interest and Krishna's interest. I pay more attention to my interest. And by the way, some of Krishna's interest is taken care of, that's nice. Right? I like to sing, or I like to paint, or you say I like to build. Instead of building something, let me build altar. Krishna is also satisfied. That's the separate interest. Trying to bring it to a point of convergence. That is dovetailing. After that, real service is what is pleasing to Krishna. So the modes of nature will tell us, this is pleasing to Krishna. So therefore we need Guru, who will say, shut up. That is not what it is. This is how you serve Krishna. Guru is the resolving factor for all such doubts, all such misunderstandings of how to serve Krishna. That is how the purport ends today. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadyakshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. Tattvadarshi means they see truth. Modes of nature means you see falsity as truth, or a different truth, a different relative truth. You don't see absolute truth. Absolute truth means tattvadarshi. Guru has to say, this is not service. This is still in the dovetail, that's okay, but accept it as dovetailing, it's not as pure service. Okay, thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Oh,